to Portland.
It's interesting to note the tear-off shield he has flapping off the side of his helmet there. People say, wonder what that is. Well, that's a little thin shield that has posts on each side of your visor on the helmet, and you can stack those up, and as they get dirty with oil from the other cars or sand pecks them up, you can reach up and grab one and pull it off, and you have a clean visor again.
Normally think of that being used almost exclusively on the dirt tracks, but indeed the IndyCar drivers do also use it here at Portland. And we'll be right back for the start of this 200-mile race at Portland right after this.
In Canada, to be successful, a beer must have certain attributes. It must be clean and clear, crisp and cold. And it must have a genuine Canadian taste. Molson Canadian, what beer's all about.
Can your motor oil take the heat? When today's engines reach high running temperatures, motor oil can thin out, break down, and leave engine surfaces unprotected. But Castrol XLR has been engineered to maintain a lubricating film, even at extreme engine temperatures. At Castrol, we believe if you can't take the heat, get out of the engine. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's cars. Look for Castrol XLR at these leading retailers.
ESPN Speed World today at Portland International Raceway. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Johnny Rutherford in the booth, covering the pit area for us, Gary Lee and Larry Newber. Well, it would seem that perhaps Arie Luyendyk has the task this afternoon of being the giant killer. Danny Sullivan is alongside in that front row, and starting in third position is Rick Mears, the two Penske drivers. And here's Arie Luyendyk, who has taken this Dick Simon car to the second fastest qualifying. He has got a job ahead of him, but I think he's kind of looking forward to this.
Well, he really does. And, of course, Danny Sullivan wants to lead right off the bat, and I think so does Arie Luyendyk, because it's a new role for him sitting in the front row. And they're only 25 thousandths of a second apart in speed, so it will be interesting to see who gets to the chicane first when the green flag drops. Then you've got Rick Mears back there, who is he's used to victory lane, and he's used to going to the front very quickly. Of course, Al Unser Jr. is due. He's been hammering away at it. So there's four guys right there that are going to be going for that #1 spot in the first lap, and it ought to be interesting.
And, of course, Al Unser Jr. has won the only road course race so far this year, that in the streets of Long Beach, California. The field comes out of corner number 9, and they begin to pick up speed, looking for the green flag. It is out. The Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200 is underway. Watch him go into the chicane now.
Critical parts of the racetrack right there, because you're still bunched up. Now you're getting strung out, and Danny Sullivan has charged to the front.
Looked like one of the cars got a little wide there going through the chicane. I believe was John Andretti. However, everybody got through the chicane okay, and all cars are running as they pass through corner number 4 now. A very short straightaway up to corner number 5. They'll come through it and then go flat out down the backstretch. Al Unser Jr. is running in third position. Rick Mears is fourth, and here we are in Little Al's car.
There you can see Little Al has some cooling tubes blowing into the cockpit to try to get him some fresh air.
Look how quickly they go through corner number 9 now. They come out of it and onto the front stretch. Danny Sullivan leads. Luyendyk second. Al Unser Jr. third. Then comes Rick Mears and Mario Andretti, followed by his son Michael, as they come down the straightaway for the first time.
The tires are just now starting to feel like you can trust them through this next set of turns, through the chicane, and down through 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to see the cars getting a little quicker, and things will start changing.
Danny Sullivan has about a 4 or 5 car length advantage on Arie Luyendyk, but is not pulling away from Arie by any means. As a matter of fact, looks like Luyendyk can perhaps close in on him as they go through the corners, but perhaps that Chevy Ilmore engine has just a little bit more horsepower as they go down the straightaway. But Luyendyk is in hot pursuit of Danny Sullivan.
There again, you can see that the tires, getting the tires heated up is the key. You know, it's you've got to have those things working, and when you get comfortable with them, then you can start moving. I think that's what Luyendyk is doing. He's getting confidence in the tires.
Way back in the pack is A. A.J. Foyt. And we saw briefly there Raul Boisel cars, I believe, his car faltering for just a moment. And
yes,
there it is. Raul Boisel is going to stall here on the race course. And that may bring out a yellow because he is unable to get that race car off the track.
yes, that's unfortunate. Raul in the first lap experiencing some sort of problem. It's hard to tell at this point. There's no smoke or no problem. He might have had gearbox troubles or may have had just ignition, something go out that caused the thing to just quit on him.
And we saw A.J. Foyt there briefly before we told you about Raul Boisel, and we have indication that A.J. Foyt may have a broken header on that car. We'll continue to watch it. Single file formation, though, up through the turn number 5 onto the backstretch once again. We're watching Ari Luyendyk, who is running in second position to Danny Sullivan. And there you can see the advantage that Sullivan has on Luyendyk as they once again move through the east end of this racetrack.
Sullivan is opening up just a little bit, and it's I think that's the long suit of the Chevrolet with that particular chassis, is that he can get very smooth and very deliberate, and it seems that that's the way it works in all the races we've watched it so far, is he can just sit there and pull right away.
Let's go down to the pit area and Gary Lee, who has possibly an explanation on what has happened to Raul Boisel.
Well, you're down here with Dennis Swan, the crew chief for Shearson Domino Pizza Racing. What's the problem on the racetrack? Well, we have some sort of engine problem. We're not really sure. It just shut off. So if we can get it back to the pits, we'll change some electronic parts and see if we can make it run. So now it's up to the safety crew to get him back. Well, they won't actually bring him back. If we can get it started again, then he can drive it back. So otherwise, the race is over, right? Unfortunately.
So Raul Boisel may try to get that car started and back in the race, but if not, it's going to be all over. And you can see the tow truck there has arrived in front of the car, and it looks like he's going to have to be pulled back to the pit area. Now we're watching a battle here involving Bobby Rahal, Emerson Fittipaldi, that is Teo Fabi, and John Andretti. This is 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right here.
Yes, they are all very close together, and utilizing the draft down the long straightaway. There's not much of a draft from these cars, but you do get a little. There you can see Emerson pull out and get past Rahal into the chicane, so obviously he utilized what there was to his effect, and he's pulled away.
So Emerson Fittipaldi moves to 7th place now, and Bobby Rahal drops back to 8th. Bobby Rahal this year using the Judd engine. One of the things that they're proudest of as far as the Judd engine is concerned is the fact that it uses less fuel, and he doesn't perhaps maybe have to make as many pit stops, but doesn't have the power that he needs, Johnny.
Well, that's true, and it's not quite as strong as some of the others, but the fuel mileage is a key, especially here. I've heard from several of the crew chiefs and some of the people that fuel mileage may be a problem here. It always has been in the past, but I thought probably with the new electronic systems and things that it might not be a problem, but they tell me that there still is a bit of a problem. So it could be interesting at the end to see who has managed it properly and who hasn't.
Well, of course, it was a fuel problem that eliminated Michael Andretti here 2 years ago, allowing his father to win. You can see the kart safety vehicle on the front stretch now. Look at the Porsche hanging right in there behind Bobby Rahal. So the Porsche certainly showing well here in the first 5 laps of this 104-lap contest. We're seeing a variety of engines here in these 3 cars.
Yes, there's 4 different types there. The Judd, the Porsche, Cosworth, and the Chevrolet. So they are going at it.
Emerson Fittipaldi, of course, in the Chevrolet, leading this foursome through the corners. We go back into the Al Unser Jr. machine, and he is still running in 3rd position, negotiating corner number 9 once again. Al Unser Jr., the Valvoline race cam down the front stretch once again. Here's Larry Nuber.
Well, Bob, as we have seen, Al Unser Jr. is utilizing the race cam this week. In previous IndyCar races, it's been in Danny Sullivan's car. Danny Sullivan's crew tells me that race cam can rob as much as maybe 0.2, maybe 0.05 of a second from the performance of the car on a road course. It adds only 15 pounds, but those 15 pounds are so critical. Yes, it does slow the car down just a bit. So Sullivan and crew, they were happy in one respect to not have the camera this week, and they're speculating that had they had the camera, they might have lost the pole to Ari Luyendyk, who's never had an IndyCar pole.
Al Unser Jr. in the Valvoline race cam running in 3rd position.